back.
Yes, we are.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. I don't know.
Now we're actually getting into it, right? Yeah. Yeah. This is the actual miracle. This one. We thought episode 1, season 1 was the one where we're like, how can we be here? How are we here? It's season 2, and we are still here. And this time we're even audio-visual. Oh my gosh. Anyway, hi, Hush.
Beefy.
Down on our podcast. This is your first episode of season 2. We are super excited.
And extremely nervous. Not gonna lie.
That's true. But from the look of things, we are well rested.
I think we're probably hiding it well.
I guess.
I think we're doing good. Actresses in
Under
the
the
house.
table, she's fidgeting.
That's not a lie.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that is not a lie. But I know we're going to have an amazing time.
Yes, we are. We took a break, a small sabbatical from, recording these episodes. And someone might be wondering why.
Because rest is a biblical command.
That's how you've decided to address it.
No,
You can't
but
feel you are tired. Anyway, no, she's.
But
Don't let me. Don't. Now they can see us. They'll see how I'm bullying you. But anyway, yes.
Yes, now you can see. Now you
But
can all
anyway.
see. And yeah.
Yeah, we took a break, and it was quite worthwhile. What have you been learning in your break?
So much. I don't think we have enough time in this one
get into
episode
it.
to get into all of it. But yes.
Yeah, so
there's
like
been
top 2.
Top 2. I would say prayer. My prayer life has definitely been challenged during this time away in very many different ways. I've been forced to ask myself if I am seeing God as an ATM or prayer is actually meant for me to seek and commune. So,
Okay.
yeah, serious heart check time. But also, I have been learning a lot. This is so interesting. Learning about rest. Because you know how as children, like, they force us to sleep? Like, to this day, I'm just baffled.
Why?
Like, why? Why would we refuse to sleep? Why would we be crying?
Why are they even telling us to sleep? Right now, offer me an hour or 2 to close my eyes. I'll be glad.
I don't want to ask for an hour. I just take it.
Yeah, like permission to close my eyes. They are my eyes.
Honestly speaking, I just don't know why as children we would cry when we're being told to take afternoon naps or stuff like that. Because rest becomes very difficult as an adult. And not even difficult in terms of there's no time to do it, but we literally don't know how to do it.
Well, that's true. And interestingly, this is a thing that normally happens, by the way. I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but Mbithi and I are always saying that in heaven we'll either be decamates
or like our mansions will be like next
to each other. Yeah, because for some reason we go through like certain like seasons of asking God certain questions or learning certain things in that particular time. And now, interestingly for me, while we've been on break, from recording and everything, took about a month, to just, go back and reflect and just see where we're at, how far we've come and all of that. One of the most important things I've also been learning is rest. And I think that God has been saying it in so many ways, like sending people, even like just making you so sick. You know that sickness which you can't understand. You don't have a fever. You don't have, and I'm just like, this is the mercy of God actually to allow me to stop myself from thinking I can actually do this 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the only thing. The other thing I've been learning is to wait.
You know how in season 1 we would always like cue a song after or like so I just thought of Travis's Green.
You waited.
No, actually.
Which one?
I will be still 'cause you are. There's a waiting line in that song.
Yes.
It was in my head and now it's
But
gone.
no,
That's that song.
but for me, the one that comes, and this one might be a little telltale-ish of my age, but Juanita Bynum. I don't mind waiting.
I don't. Hold up. Okay.
Yeah.
So that I've been listening to "I Will Wait for You" by Juanita Bynum on repeat the whole week.
So decamate in heaven, like we said. Anyway, yeah, but it's been a space of learning that interestingly, I think it's also similar to, asking yourself if God is an ATM or if you're in it for the relationship. Yeah. If he says not now, are you going to throw a
Insist.
tantrum? Are you going to allow that maybe there's beauty in the waiting, or it's not yet time, you're not yet ready? It's okay, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. A time will come when you are ready. Yeah. So those are my two main things. And seeing as we have
One in common.
yeah, it's so important. And I think we've been having this conversation with lots of people.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was once my boss, and one of the things she used to encourage us was to rest. In fact, I think if she had a way to force us to go for leave, she would. Like, you just show up and, like, no, you can't enter this office. Yeah. And for her perspective was the work will be here when you get back. Everything else will still move even without
When you're
you.
away.
I remember conversations even with my mom, right? Saying things like, when you go and you're like, I need to go for this thing. She's like, need?
If you don't go, what will happen?
Exactly. And when she'd ask me that question, I'm like, you don't understand. It's so important. And then she says, so before you ever went for this thing, did it happen? Was it happening? Were people going? Was it like, why do you suddenly think that everything is rising and falling on you? Yeah. And so that's the same thing this friend of mine kept on saying. And it's a principle that I've been trying also very much to actually now do without like thinking, like to just, the season has come, your body. And meanwhile, our body is like a car. Yeah.
Yes.
It has those warning lights, yeah?
Yeah,
Like check the battery, check the oil, check. But you're like, wow, I can push 2 more weeks.
I know my car.
Yeah.
I know
These
myself.
things of you put 20K fuel, you've been driving the car for like a day. Like, but I know.
Even tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I will.
I'll fuel on my way back tomorrow. But that's really interesting that you'd say that, because personal story, a few weeks ago, I took leave from work as well. And of course, for me, my idea of resting is like sleep. And so my plan was to sleep a lot, but I didn't actually do that in the first week. I kept moving. I needed to see people. I was just moving a lot. And one day I got back home and my dad asked me, what was your leave for?
Ooh.
Like, you've barely been around. You've
Yeah.
not settled down. Like, your body is going to break down. And I was looking at him like, well, there are different forms of rest. And like, as in
Tell
moving
me
around
what
to
form
see,
yours is called.
moving around to see people is also rest. I'm resting my mind. Also, I convinced myself. But I feel like God did something really interesting, or allowed something interesting to happen the following week. So I ran broke, like completely broke. And all the gigs I had been doing, like the payments were delaying for no reason, really,
Yeah.
at least no good reason. And so I was so broke I couldn't leave the house. And I was forced to sleep. I was forced to stay home. I stayed home for like 4 days. I was just like, hold up, I'm a brand new person. And now, God, I understand why
it's
you allowed
important,
this.
yeah.
Why you allowed this. Because as soon as it was time for work, all the money came in. All of it. I was just like, yeah, I see what God did right there.
Yeah, and sometimes I think we think that God is punishing us, and what yet there's a mercy in that.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine recently. Actually, I think I might have told you about this, but I kept telling him, when you don't allow for you to take a break, God will force the break on you.
Yeah.
And
We shouldn't
he's
have
like,
to get there.
No, you don't have to keep going. I have all these deadlines. I have these things. And yeah. And the truth is, when you're in the gig economy, sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low.
Yeah.
And for him, I noticed a pattern that whenever he had been like going hard, like nonstop for like 4 months, there would come like a dry spell. And I'd say, God is forcing you to rest. If you had been allowing to like
Take breaks within your work schedule,
hey,
you might be going continually.
But also you're not even productive. You can't.
No, okay, but these are like the first 5 minutes of the pod. You can't be shooting people like that.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
seeing as that's the thing, that kept on coming up, like while we were on break and whatever. The truth is, I wanted to understand, is it really important? Like, okay, I can say it's been a long week. I close my eyes like an hour and then I say I'm ready for the next week, right? Can't I do that? And so a friend directed me to certain scriptures and I said, oh,
Yeah.
back in the day it was an instruction, right? So
It still is.
yeah, I would like to actually read from, let's see, Exodus 31, verse 12. This one's titled The Sabbath Law. I like NKJV. I know people really like NLT, ESV. I
Yeah, me,
actually have
I'm an NLT girl.
it is well. I
I
have a
feel
hard
like you
copy
are.
ESV.
I feel like you're like, what are you trying to say about us who read
I've
NLT?
said nothing. My goodness, into
You're
the word
deeper?
I go.
Okay.
Why do you want to fight
No,
me
I
while
just
they are
want to.
seeing us?
I just want to understand what you mean. Like because I
Wow.
read NLT, I don't see God
I don't
like
think
you
I'm
do.
safe. Spire Creative, please. I need to be protected, please. But anyway, from verse 12 all the way to 17. And the
Yeah.
Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak also to the children of Israel, saying, Surely my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord who sanctifies you. You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy to you. Everyone who profanes it shall surely be put to death. For whoever does any work on it, that person shall be cut off from among his people. Work shall be done for 6 days, but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Therefore, the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So, child of God, if you
What do you
think you
think you
don't
are?
need rest, who are you? Yeah, it's a simple thing, really. I
Yeah.
mean, if God took the rest, he knew he needed to be refreshed.
Yeah.
This is the creator of the heavens and the earth, the creator of you and I.
He doesn't sleep nor slumber. Yet he
You get
rested.
it.
Yeah.
So, man, I just kept feeling like, this is a hard one. But I was like, why is it hard? It's not like they're punishing me to rest. It's just cause I have created a mindset where I think everything
Revolves
rises
around me.
and falls
Yeah.
on me.
And the world is like super fast paced. Like the difference between Monday and the next Monday is like 2 blinks. Yeah, and we're on the next one. And so the world is going so fast, and so I think we continually feel the need to keep going and going and going. But I read a book where this guy said, I think it was either a book or an article, where this guy said it's interesting that man's very first day on earth was a day of rest, because on the sixth day,
Yeah.
God created man, and then on the seventh day he rested.
He rested.
So man's first experience of earth was rest. And that says a lot about God's intention for us to rest. And I would say he established rhythms and patterns. Now, when I was reading a couple of commentaries and books on this whole subject, and I noticed something that many authors said: God established rhythms and patterns from the beginning. So he creates, then he allows for rest.
Yes.
And then, so there was a rhythm of work, pause,
Take a break,
work, pause. And now fast forward, sin gets into the world and there's everything wrong happening. Fast forward to Exodus, end of Genesis, children of Israel go to Egypt, and now they are with Pharaoh. They're under the rulership of Pharaoh,
Slaves.
who made them slaves and made them work all the time. Now, if you remember in the book of Exodus, when they would constantly complain about how much work they would be doing, he would add.
Yeah.
And so they had a mindset of work, 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 work. So even when they were ushered out of Egypt, they still had that. Now, I think it's interesting that now when God is giving them the law, he's reestablishing the patterns,
back
the
to the
rhythms that he
beginning,
had that he had given at the beginning. So first, honor the Lord your God, honor each other, honor your father and mother, do not steal from each other, observe the day of Sabbath. He gives
Yeah.
them all that to make sure that they are back to the system of having rhythms and patterns. And I think that speaks to us who live in a very fast-paced world. It's to remember that I am supposed to have a pattern for my day.
Yeah.
That is why our bodies need serious
sleep.
downtime,
Yeah.
serious, because it's a thing that God established from the beginning. You're not going to work and work and work and work and work and think you're going to be productive.
Yeah.
That just goes against his design for us. And so I think for us who are in a very fast-paced world, it's really important to, I think, create boundaries around our resting time
That's true.
very jealously, whereby if it's daily, you know that I am off anything work related between,
By
say,
this
10
time,
and 6 a.m. Nothing concerning work is going to be
You know
my
what's
business.
interesting is that friend of mine, at that time, she was my boss. But she would tell me, if for some reason, because she was big on either scheduling emails or just telling you before you leave the office, but she said, if for some reason an email, even if it's from me or someone higher than you, comes in after 5, please don't open it until you get back to work the next day. I think we've built a culture where, because everybody is trying to be employee of the month, everyone's trying to, secure the bag. I
Yeah.
mean, there are all these different things going around, that we think everything else can be sacrificed, including yourself, your health, your time, like everything, as long as you're doing the things that kind of help you secure the bag. Yeah. And so she constantly told me, I need you to learn to respect
your
time, your rest, it is so important. And she brought it down to, because as a boss, all I'm thinking about is KPIs. I need these things done. I need all these things done. So I may never even remember that, hey, bossy your people and you need to stop. Yeah. So now she told me, I'm putting the boss hat aside and I'm talking to you as my friend. Emphasize that rest is important.
Yeah.
And schedule your leave. Don't, make HR have to come and call and say, you have days. We are moving them forward. No. Take your days. Take a break. Breathe. And actually have your mind centered back on what is important.
Yeah.
And one of the things I learned a lot from her was her reminding me why the Sabbath was put in place. To remind the children of God, the Israelites really, that God is the provider.
Yes.
He is the ultimate provider. So because when you continue that rat race, when you don't want to stop, you're always, chasing the bag. And at some point you're like, when I can't the bag chase, call me. I've chased it all my life.
Yeah.
Like, ideally, you need to stop and realize that even if you got all the money in the world, it's not about you. It's actually God who's provided that bag.
That's true.
That you're trying to chase.
That is so true.
So the Sabbath is supposed to help you remember that, stop thinking that it is about you. It is actually about God. He is able to supply. In fact, I hope I haven't gotten it wrong. There was a period where they would take a break even during the harvesting season.
Actually, it was a command, Exodus 34, 20. Let's not.
So you need to prepare before that season. Because when that time comes, by the way, you better not be working. That's what God was expecting.
He actually said, you have 6 days each week for your ordinary work. But on the 7th day, you must stop working, even during the seasons of plowing and harvest. And so it wasn't a thing of waiting for, let me wait for it to slow down. Let me wait for when I have finished. I forget, I'm not really into agriculture, but you kind of rest when you have put the seeds in the ground, right? So it wasn't a thing of let me wait for that time. It's a thing of even in the middle of harvest, when that day reaches, leave.
Please.
But it's interesting that how God even taught them about Sabbath, because remember how God would provide manna for them. Yeah. He'd provide manna for them, and the instruction was there was never supposed to be manna kept over to the next day.
Yes, because there will be something for that day.
But on the 6th day, the instruction was collect enough for the 7th, because you were not supposed to do anything on the 7th. And God, in his kindness, would send as much on day 6 for day 6 and day 7. And that speaks to your point about God being the provider. Yeah. When he's telling you to rest, it's not that, oh my goodness, everything is going to stop. He's ultimately the provider, and he will take care of that. if we're careful to obey his instruction.
I think we have a fear, and it really goes back to thinking that we are self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Believing that if I stop, then what will the children eat? Or how will I make it to the next day? Or how will the world move without me?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. If we are reminded that indeed it is only God
Yeah.
who, but also even beyond that, like when you choose not to rest, are you saying, child of God, that God can rest but you can't?
Who do you think you are?
Seriously. And I think this even points us back to episode 2, season 1. Please.
Just you
Yeah.
can pause here and take a listen.
Yeah.
But anyways, I remember this quote I once read from a pastor in New York called Rich Villodas. He once said, one of the purposes of Sabbath or rest is to deal with the idol of productivity.
Come on.
Because it's so easy for you to start equaling your intrinsic worth to what your hands bring to the table.
Thank you.
So basically, rest is meant to show you that whether you're working or you're not working, your value in the eyes of God are the same.
Yes,
Is the same.
is.
Sorry guys. The English
Tis
is
well. English is not your mother.
it's not my mother.
Yeah,
So
tis well.
but for real, it's meant to show us that we are more than what we produce. Actually, those were his words.
Yeah.
You are more than what you bring to the table. And so if you are constantly working, don't be surprised as to when seasons come and like this. We all have bad and good seasons in our work times and spaces. We should not be surprised that when life changes, we start to feel like we are less than. We start to feel like, oh my goodness, I don't think I have as much value anymore. I think we're supposed to now look back and realize, oh, okay, so I was getting my value or thinking that my value actually comes from my work or how much money I make or how good I look in front of people because of how much I make. So rest is supposed to deal with those holes and those.
That's true. You know how everyone's normally counting down to the week of the 24th and onwards in every month because it's salary week. The
Speaking
bug
of
has
which,
been caught. Yeah.
Say a prayer because
You are.
no, well,
It's
anyway.
okay. I got you.
Thanks.
But yet, just the other day, you lent me 1K. Just know we are suffering together. But
please. I refuse to say those things over me, please. The power of life and death is in my tongue. You're broke alone. I'm not
For
with
me, I'm
you.
just
That's
saying,
why.
Wama, if you want to send me mobile money, I'll leave the details
In
the
the
description. But anyway, I know that certain times, and I think it's mostly for guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see that when there's like less money around, and it's the general thing. Like you have conversations with ladies, and they're like, "Man, the one area is that money thing. Like when we're low on it, it's like he can't talk. It's like So I don't know if there's a way that the world has taught us to believe that the more that you have, then the more that you are.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what that guy was trying to deal with. That, by the way, at the end of the day, it's not about what is in your hands or what it is you're able to create.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, God is
the source.
He is the ultimate. I feel like I have like 7,000 things going through my mind.
No, because I wonder how many people had to learn this the hard way during the lockdown, especially because that's was
where
like
I was going.
Forced remain in your house and sleep.
That's where I was going. I think
yeah.
At that time I could say it was a little easy on me because I was still at home, like with my parents. I'm certain it must have been tough on them, wondering, after today, or when you can tell that, okay, this money can take us up until this point, right?
So
what
some days in
that?
between, you're just like, you know what, I can't feed on sleep.
Yeah, you just
3 meals a day. Is
randomly.
That necessary?
Why? In fact, you're like, but God, have I fasted enough? I haven't. This seems like an opportune time to meet you in the quiet place, in the secret place. Yeah, but I remembered recently, having taken that season for granted simply because I wasn't the one who they were looking at for the money. But then also God highlighting that, so you thought that it was okay, it was easy, simply because you were not the one who was bringing the money. Meaning that you're looking to the money. You think that if it was you, then you'd have been more important over what. Or right now, if the lockdown happened, you would be. I was like, God, you're asking me many questions.
Those are hard questions.
Yeah, like there are so many. I'm even wondering, is it that I have convinced you that I feel like I'm the provider? But
Yeah.
ideally, what he was telling me was, even when the money is not there, now that I am not at home anymore, because there are those seasons, and in my other life, I'm a DJ, so there can be moments where so many gigs, then none. Then more gigs, then none. So in that space where there are none, am I looking at it as an opportunity to say, oh, God has actually been merciful to allow me to rest? Or am I saying, God, the bag, it has run away from me again. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Am I looking to him as my ultimate source? Or am I expecting that, hey, now that I have the money, yeah, I can sit with the big boys? Yeah.
That's interesting. But now I might be on the other side watching and thinking to myself, thanks, oh my goodness, I'm shaken. Wow, I should rest. But like genuinely, how? Because I think there are times in my experience, there are times I have scheduled rest and told myself, for example, this Saturday, nothing will get
Will
me
get
out of the house. I'm going to sit and chill. But my mind, the mind,
Yeah.
it's out of the house. It's thinking of everything
That's
and
true.
anything and all the work I should be doing and all the work that I will do the following week.
Yeah.
And like I'm structuring, as in, I literally find myself sitting on my bed and thinking, okay, so next week, I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. And I'm scheduling for the next week as opposed to actually resting.
Resting.
Now, I've convinced myself that because I didn't move, I've
That you
rested.
didn't move.
But the truth is, I am just as exhausted.
As if you had gone to work, eh? Or if you
So
had been answering emails.
exactly. So how do you actually rest in this really crazy world, especially now that we must have 7 streams of income?
But must they be 7? I think we overdo. But anyway, story for another day. Yeah. One of the things I think rather Sabbath, is translated to is like, I think to cut off, to pause. Yeah. So when you hear the word pause, it means that you stop,
Yeah.
right? And pausing means that, like, if you're watching a movie, you pause and you can come back later and press play. So that means that if I've decided that today is my day of rest, if it clocks 5 p.m. and that's the time I said I will start to rest, I haven't finished. I haven't sent the email. I haven't. Sorry. Sorry. Now
Can
we
you
are.
genuinely say sorry? Let's be honest.
In my heart, eh?
In your heart, you can say sorry
Yeah,
while you're
these
sending
days-
the email.
no, these
so who are you
days-
saying sorry to?
No, these days I'm actually learning to, one, if I don't want to sit in my room and say, oh, I'm resting while I'm there in guilt, like banana, but I didn't send it, to try and make sure that by the time 5 p.m. is coming,
I've finished all that I needed to do.
yes, things that I feel maybe need to be done then. Because the truth is, there are certain things that are urgent, some are important.
Yeah.
So you know what falls where. It's just that in life we keep on telling ourselves that everything is urgent and important. So you put everything in that category. Yet there are things where, honestly, I recently had a conversation with someone who required me to send them something, and I was working overtime and what. And they said, but do you know that it doesn't have to happen all at once? We, like, can you breathe? Can we do this in a
bits
time
and
that
pieces.
won't like kill you? Because
Yeah.
even when you send it, my desk might not be as free to be able to look at it
Deal with it, yeah.
at that moment.
Yeah.
So was it important? Yes. Was it urgent? No. So I guess helping yourself even before you want to get into the rest. Like, know that a time is going to come and I need to switch off. If I'm not able to switch off at that time, then that means that maybe my mind is so clogged. So even as you're approaching the rest, because I've personally been having to take really tough measures because God has been on my case, man.
Yeah.
If you don't rest, what's the quality of your life going to look like 2, 4, 5 years from today? Yeah. If you think you can keep going and going and going and going, and I'm such a night owl, like I like to work into the night, and there's a way that when you go into the night, then you have to get up early the next day, then you're running on like 3 hours of sleep. There's even a way.
You can really see it's like
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. There's a way you look at the face and the face has no rest in it. Yeah. And so for me, my how is to ensure that as the time is approaching, my mind is not clogged. And if
Yeah.
it is, I'm one of those who's big on music. I'm going to get home and set the mood. I will switch off the lights. It's a dark room. Play that soft, nice,
Scented candles.
Exactly. Like I'm going to create it so much that I don't even remember where I am. I'm
Yeah.
not certain where I am anymore. I'm just like, wow, Hawaii or Chisasi. Like, where is it that I am
You
right
just
now?
literally told me where you stay, but cool.
Chisasi is big.
Cool. When they see you roaming around in your house clothes when you've gone to the shop.
Like, that's the second house. We have another one.
But I met a guy not so long ago. We're having a training, and so we're doing this thing. Our teacher told us to introduce ourselves and say one weird thing or one unusual thing about us. And this guy said his name and then said, "My phone is off from Thursday night till Tuesday morning."
What?
We're like, "Sorry, what?" And he's like, "And my family knows." I was like, in my head, I had so many questions. I was like, so what if one of them has an
Yes,
emergency? How do they reach
something.
you? What if, how do you work? So you mean you don't work on Friday? Like, I had so many questions in my head, but you could see it was a principle he had established, and everyone that knew him knew that.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually move with the phone on those days. Like, and everyone that knows him knows that. So I started to think to myself, no wonder he would have time to like read books.
Yeah.
And I'm sure his weekend it's a lot of introspection and
No,
a lot
but
of
also-
thinking, and because he has drawn a boundary.
Yes.
And so, which was really the point I was trying to make. There has to be serious boundaries
Yeah.
when it comes to rest, because the world is not going to stop.
But also, I'm certain he's connecting with people.
That's true.
Like, actual person to person connections are happening.
Yeah.
I think with our world, because there's so much, like there's social media, there's, oh my goodness, there's so much, right? So you can think, I met a cousin actually like 2-3 weeks ago, and she's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I think I last saw her before COVID. And I was like, yeah, but she's like, anyway, but I've been seeing you around. I'm like, where? She's like, on your status. I'm like, you've been seeing me? You have? Okay. And of course, it feels like you're seeing the person, but you're not really
You're
seeing
not,
them, right?
yeah.
It's until I'm with you and I'm saying, how are you? How are you really?
And then I say I'm not fine yet the whole time I've been posting funny memes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so for me, I think that's the other thing. Now, this guy has really challenged me because I've recently set like times, days where I log out of my social media and just allow to do other things, but not social media engagement at all. And I think I was telling you the other day that there's so much time. I feel like the day has 28 hours. Suddenly you're watching paint dry because you're like, oh, Twitter. Oh, no, Twitter. Use
Yeah.
this time to think or to read the word.
And
or to
many people
pray.
actually think scrolling through social media is
Is
resting.
resting. It's
But
not.
It's far from it, I think. I think the way the algorithms have been designed
Yeah.
is to, like, as you scroll, it's giving you what to think about, what to
Yeah.
compare your life with, it's just giving you reason for your mind to be running all the time. So while I know there can be certain entertaining parts of it, I think it's not entirely restful. And so this is us saying that part of the boundaries you need to draw is social media.
Yeah.
Honestly.
One of the things that I discovered recently while trying to figure out this rest thing is that even gaming is not resting. And I said, really, what do you mean? And so this lady is explaining that, if you're gaming, you're competing. You're trying to win a thing, right? For example, I'm big on Candy Crush.
Who are
When
you
I get-
competing with when you're doing Candy Crush?
When I get stuck on a level, I'm going to want to make sure I finish it. By
So-
the way, it's an actual problem.
But it's Candy Crush. I want to differ with you on that one. I feel like Candy Crush is for resting.
Well, this was a psychologist saying how our brains and minds and what work.
I feel like those guys need to go back to school and all of them decide.
Wow.
They all of them agree
They come together and they give
on
us
what
one
they,
decision.
yeah, because
Okay.
others say play games.
No, I think there's a type.
Okay, I get you.
Maybe there's a type of game that might be soft. When we were much younger, there was a golfing game. I think it was like a PlayStation game or something. It was so relaxed.
I was actually going to say
just be
PS5.
like,
Just yeah.
hit the thing in, and that's all you're doing. Anyway, maybe I was playing even the easy level. My siblings were probably not letting me prosper, but all of this to say that lady actually was explaining it, that if your mind is working, if your mind is figuring out this game, maybe you're the kind who's into like shooting games, you're looking for the person to kill them in the house, you're more attentive, your mind is working. And the point with the rest is that everything stops, that you're able to actually
Have a moment of dormancy.
unplug from the world, from the things, from your regular program and everything. The other how is one of the things anyway that for me has really worked is touching base with the people that are nearest and dearest with me, right? Not that we are meeting to talk about problems, because when we meet to talk about problems,
That's trauma bonding.
also we are not resting. We are crying.
Going over.
Yeah.
What stresses us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel, I really love children. Yeah. So when I'm with my nieces and my nephews, it's like I'm unwinding. They're telling you all these really silly
You realize
stories.
you're the same age as
You're like,
them.
yeah, we are thinking the same things. You thought what about the flower? Even me. You saw what in the clouds? I saw it too. Like, it's a beautiful way. But I feel like it works a bit differently for different people. Just that if yours is being very different and yet very similar to your schedule. For example, if you're saying, oh no, so normally I'm on my phone for 10 hours. When I decide to take like my days to rest, I'll be on for 8. Bombastic side eye.
Yeah.
Because how do you mean it?
No, but and I guess the whole point is your moment of rest should not leave you more restless.
Thanks.
Like, honestly, and I think
Put it on a t-shirt.
that's
Or
a
a
good
billboard
idea. That's a good idea.
somewhere.
On a tea. Rest shouldn't leave you restless. Like, honestly, and I think we have convinced ourselves, and I guess that was a point my dad was trying to make the time he asked me, what's your leave for? Because I seem to be I'm still waking up early to leave the house.
Yes.
In the name of going to see people, but I'm doing many other things, and like someone's calling me for a gig, like, hey, yeah, let me come. And, you know, so by the time I'm back home at like 10 p.m., it's just looking at you like,
You're lying. You're just telling lies.
your schedule has not changed at all.
Yeah.
And if I was to look at it honestly, I was not feeling rested at all. I was just changing activity,
That's
which is
true.
interesting. But there's something else I noticed as I studied the word. Rest isn't just a comma. It's not just a pause. It's a person.
Oh, let's go.
Like, you know how Matthew 11 says, I think it's Matthew 11, that says, come to me, all who are weary and heavy
I will
laden,
give you.
and I will give you rest.
Oh,
Come to me.
you're deep.
No.
Come on.
No, but seriously.
Say it again.
No, seriously. Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how even when God was giving them the commandments, the children of Israel, he first talked about himself. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Like, first, your focus has to be me. But also, the interesting thing is the major reason for the Sabbath was for worship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically told them, for the 6 days you work, on the seventh day you will not work. Why? Because you will have to remember your maker. You will have to worship your maker. And so your object of rest has to be Jesus. It has to look like you coming to him.
And may the grace. Because I think we're done here. Like, she just preached a whole sermon. What am I doing here?
No, not in that way, but yeah, if you say so. In the blue bags.
Wow. Your church is showing. Your church is showing. But anyway, Psalms 116 verse 7 says, return to your rest, my soul, for the Lord has been good to you. So I think one of the ways that makes it so easy for us to actually be able to get into a place of rest is believing that God is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that even if the world is going crazy in that moment, it's still possible for you to pause, to stop and know that your soul, it is well. It is well. And I
Yeah.
think when you live in that state of it is well, it's so easy for you to actually disconnect yourself from situations. I know I've just been having a crazy time at work. You really know that. Yeah.
Well,
And there've been moments where all I'm hearing, God, like I go to God and I'm like, please, now wait, help me. What? Like I want to do my best. I want to. I'm here trying to secure Employee of the Month, yet they already selected. Like, really? Yeah. And all God is saying is rest. Come to me to rest. Don't come to me
to complain.
to
But
complain.
okay, yes, come
To
with your.
beg. Yeah, come.
But
But
like-
ideally, what I want to give you in exchange is rest.
Yes.
Are you willing to take it?
Yeah.
For like the first 3 days, I was like, this guy is not hearing me.
Or
I'm
you want
begging
strength for
Jesus,
continue.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Please, please. Like, and he's saying,
Thank you for bringing your burdens. Lay them at my feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, as we wind up, the most important thing,
I just thought of something random as you talked about like that
I'm
psalm.
afraid. Go for it.
And this is random, and I'm please, this is not me saying that it's 100% biblical, but it was just a very random thought. You know how God made Adam sleep, then he gave him a wife.
I've had pastors use it. I like where you're
Good
going.
things come to those who are resting. I mean, God gave him a whole instruction
This
to
is
walk.
Mbithi chapter 1, verse 14.
God told him to walk, name the animals,
The
till
new
the
down
ground.
and up version.
And then when it was time for the real
Wow.
good thing, he said, it's not good for you to be alone.
But for me,
And then he made him what? Go and sleep, guys.
for me, the one I want to use, Elijah, saying, God, just kill me, kill me, kill me. If you know that story, you know that God, I think God was just like,
Okay.
what a tantrum. But have a snack,
And
take
sleep.
a nap.
He
You'll
didn't
be
even tell
alright.
him. He literally just gave him and then made him sleep.
That's it.
And he woke up fine. This is your sign to, like, after this, take that
Yeah.
nap.
Switch off the phone if you need to. If
Take
you
some
need to.
intentional
Yeah.
rest. And
Maybe just a final thing. One of the things that I'm loving, the new updates for most phones. So just to put it out there because it comes up every so often. Android, iOS.
thank you.
That's
Thank
out
you.
of the way.
Thanks.
On my version.
So, yeah, I don't
of-
kind of understand what you're talking about. You might need
of
to
my,
explain
of
it
my
more.
phone. It's a phone I can call. Didn't I call you?
Android people like to
pick up?
defend their things
No,
like
did you
that.
pick up?
Like, you're the people. You like to
are
defend.
classist, but in heaven we are going to be in one place. All of us together. But anyway, however, the new updates that our beautiful Android phones
Your
are
phones
doing.
update.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, there's a thing called sleep mode, yeah? And so when...
That's a recent update on you.
Yes. That now does so many amazing things. I can still take important phone calls, right? But my phone will go into black and white. And it will help me sleep better. It will not ring for the life of me. Like at first, flight mode was just switching off everything. But now sleep mode makes my phone black and white. So immediately I know, okay, this black and white mode means it's time for sleeping, right? So at this point, if you call me, if you do what? Sorry. Bye.
I can't believe you're showing off about this all these
I'm
years
not
later.
showing off. I'm simply saying, look at your phone and make use of it. Ensure that you're resting because now it's on your phone.
Anyways, my friends, we've been having this
Go for
opportunity to put ourselves on focus mode and just different
It's
kinds
the
of.
same. Name the
That's
same.
it's new for you. That's the whole point.
No, it's been there for 3 years. It's new for me. I've just
It's been
started
there
to
for
use
only
it.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, bottom line is you can call me. Isn't
Well,
that what comforts you?
Android people, are we able to communicate? Are we able to sleep well? Are we able to do all we need to do? At the end of the day, heaven is the what? The goal.
You know what? I know a perfect way to end this.
Go for it.
The one thing. Okay, now Maggie, I need you to be honest. I haven't called you by your government name.
But it is well. I like it.
I need you to be 100% honest. The one gadget that you would love to own.
So I'm a DJ. And my gadgets are normally with sound. Bose headphones. They are beautiful. I think I've used them once. And I don't think I've experienced anything like that. Like it's like
you weren't on Earth.
yeah, because I think the only time I had experienced that kind of sound was I was in a room with surround sound, like actual, speakers and whatever, and I was getting it in headphones. I was like, a mystery. This, I've never seen it. Yeah. What's your gadget? Mac what? Apple what?
All of them except that new vision thing they've introduced, because I don't see the point really. Like, why do we have to live life in
4D, 4K actually.
like let's use our eyes, guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but yeah, I think every Apple.
As-
I can really see people on the other side rioting already, but I honestly don't see the point of it. But hey, cool.
If you're looking for how you can reach me, especially if you're an Android user and you want to make good for the blues.
No,
But
there's no need for that, guys. We can call each other. Isn't that what you said? We can call.
yeah.
We can.
Yeah, we can. It's been lovely. It's normally like this, but now you can see us. Yeah. Anyway, it's been fun.
It's been
Please
amazing.
make sure that if you haven't rested in a while, schedule some time to rest.
Take this as the sign, as God saying to you.
In fact, not sign, confirmation.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that you actually do need some downtime.
Write to your HR and schedule that leave.
Please.
I think the self-employed people suffer the most because
Right?
they don't know how
For them,
to stop.
they are governing themselves.
Yeah,
They're just like,
so
the bag is chasing me, I'm chasing it. We're like,
process is trusting me. I'm not trusting it. It's me trusting it. Like,
yeah. But anyway.
if you close for one day like this, the sun will rise. There's that new Pompey album, that song where he says, sun will set without you.
Yeah, level up. Anyway.
It will rise without you.
Right.
So rest.
Please do. Anyway, we'll be back in a jiffy. And trust me, the next time you see us, I can't say that.
Please, if you see us looking the same, I was not there convincing you that you'll come back to something different.
Is that what I was saying? But anyway, bye.